All right, we are back twice in 2 days. Who would have thought? This will be good because we can follow up from yesterday's TA. So without further ado, how do I look? I look good. All right, straight into it. Will be a little bit shorter than yesterday because we've already done majority of the TA for the week yesterday. So now we will just monitor. And yeah, we can see price is slowly making its way up to this supply up here. I had a range here marked out, which yeah, you can see a bit of a ranging environment in here. Price is tapped EQ. And now we simply wait. We can set our alerts for a distribution to form, should it form. Do we have any PORs there? Not really. Yeah, this would have all been marked out pretty well by myself yesterday. Yeah, there's just nothing here outside of this supply zone. That's it for gold for me. Just watch and wait for some data to form. I've taken the age lows. Let's have a look at silver. Yeah, big upward move here on silver into this supply, which will probably get mitigated quite soon. You know what? No, you can't pull your range like that. It's rubbish. There's nothing really for me to pull here because yeah, it's not yet ranging price action. It's more so just market structure for now. Higher high, higher low. Yeah, soon looks like we might be making somewhat of a higher high like this potentially. Let's see what happens. But as of now, just wait. We have our alerts for this supply zone, and that's it. Euro USD, this was interesting. I think I may have missed a distribution on here. No, I did not miss the distribution, sorry. Confusion with, I think, Euro GBP, which we'll get there eventually. Whereas here, we are accumulating for now. But we're accumulating pretty abruptly. Maybe even some supply there. No, not valid. Not valid, no supply. And we've taken, you can see we've had a very local accumulation model here, which took out all this high side liquidity. Very nice. And then, yeah, we can just wait and see what happens when we get a reaction off any of these demand levels. And same thing, just patience. Practice patience, guys. It's validated. We probably will get a reaction of somewhere in here. This is not valid because our 2 candle is not present. We need 2 bullish candles for this to be valid demand. Still not valid demand. Yeah, this is a valid structure demand. POI, that's fine. We've also taken this liquidity. Other than that, there's not much. There's not much going on here. In the optimal scenario, I would like to see price come into this liquidity zone at some point and complete this sweep it, then break structure in order to confirm, not complete, confirm this distribution model, whether that be model 1 or model 2. It could even do something like this. Bang. Sweep it and then bang. We can definitely see something like this happen, creating this 4th tap there. If anything, this would be a bit closer. But we'll leave it like that for now. And we'll see what happens. And then from a local standpoint, supply has been mitigated. Can you re-pull it? You can. No, you can't. Can you? Re-pull it to there. That's fine. And yeah, we'll wait for price to see what happens there. Not much can be done further. AUD USD. And yeah, we're approaching this well, you can already see that we accumulated up here. can see this right away, and you can already see the liquidity here, which has all been swept. I wouldn't look at this from a distribution model. 2 reasons. First reason is that what would have been this Wyckoff low, we'll draw this just for a visual representation. What would have been this Wyckoff low has been swept, and then there's also just no return to zone here. Like, there's just nothing. Therefore, yeah, would not be interested in this at whatsoever. Would simply want more data here. I want to see some more price movement before making any decisions. But yeah, we are in very premium range pricing here. Like, fairly evident there. Not even, what am I walking on? AUD USD. Same thing. There's not much to look at other than just waiting for more price action here. We swept this. And we swept this as well. Is there anything more refined? You would like to think there would be. That's been swept. That's not valid. Not swept, sorry, mitigated. Excuse my. Yeah, like all this, it's not really supply anymore. It's been mitigated realistically, and everything in here is just not clean whatsoever. So it's very shitty supply, if that makes sense. It hasn't even swept this high, so it's not really doing much. You can have this charted for the sake of it as a refined level, but then even this, you have an inside bar candle, so it's just not that good. It'd probably be valid structure supply on a smaller time frame, but yeah. Other than that, and it's not a, there you go. Yeah, it is valid, but it's not a key enough supply that you might get a little reaction, but you're not going to get anything special from this. But yeah, it's just, you may as well have it on your chart. Should there be a reaction, at least you know where it's come from. And that's fine. How long did I draw this? Man, how long did I draw this, bro? Doesn't need to be that long. This is insinuating that the price will probably tap it fairly soon, and I do believe it will. But for now, nothing really worthwhile to chart. USD CAD. Let's keep it moving. There might be a little distribution in there forming, very little. But even if it is, we've Asian lows. Yeah, I'm not liking this at all. Like, it is valid, it's a valid range, but you got your high and then you got your low. You know what? You know what's making this good? Straight off the bat? Triple lows right there. You could even say quadruple lows if you sneak that in. So should there be the slightest bit of return to zone here, that could be a great liquidity target. London lows, very interesting. I'm going to name this London triple lows. That's all you need. You have some interesting price action, and we did. I can say ran through, but we've just respected the supply. There might be something up there as well. Inside bar candle there, not valid. We've respected that as well. You know what? This could actually be right. There could be something here. My confidence is these triple lows. And then we've mitigated this, so there you go. So there's not much reason for price. Like, you got this liquidity, which is valid. It is valid. And it's nice liquidity too, to be fair. Very nice liquidity. That's very nice liquidity. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens here. No valid demand, no valid demand, no valid demand, valid demand. Realistically, this whole thing's demand. And you've obviously got a bit more of a structured and more cleaner looking, if you will, demands over here. So yeah, I can see price coming to sweep these at some point or fairly quickly, but the only issue is there's just, once again, no return to zone here. So unless we see something like this, and then a very, 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 very slow rise up before we go down. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, it's not really worth taking this trade. I feel like even with those lows at the bottom, but it is a nice liquidity target. Let's sack that off. And sack that off. To be fair, there is a decent looking liquidity curve here. Like, it's not bad. But there's no return to zone in there, so as of now, there's no real clean trade in here. So all I will do is just wait for price to move a bit. Nothing more can be done. Yeah, that's all I got for AD USD for the time being. Patience. GBP JPY. Off the bat, a potential distribution model here, but way too short of a time frame. Like, way too short of a time frame. This is what, 3 hours, not even 2 hours. It'll probably end up completing itself, but it's just way too local of a move to even, it's clean. Like, don't get me wrong, this is clean, but it's just too short. It's probably going to end up sweeping now. You might get a slight pullback in there, if that. Not even. No. There's no reason for the price to come back up here. This will probably complete itself fairly shortly. Where could you have entered? Nowhere for it to be valid. Technically, there's no 1 minute structure break, because that's not a valid high, because it's a 2 candle rule is not valid there. Our 6 candle rule, so because you need to have 2 bullish candles after these 2 bearish candles. You just got 1 bullish candle, so that's not a valid high. Therefore, from a technical standpoint, there has still not yet been a 1 minute break of structure to the downside. These aren't breaks of structure. It's just too low of a range anyway. I'm not even going to give this time down. It'll probably come down at some point, but it's not what we're after, or it might just keep going and hit our extreme liquidity target and then go down, which is also possible and a much more likely outcome. Yeah, look at those nice lows there created. High low, high low, high low, high low, high low. It's a beautiful looking range. Were there any POIs here? No, just because of that week there. I remember that one. There was no supply in there. Yeah, there just wasn't much. I remember looking at this the day before. And yeah, there's no valid supply blocks anywhere in here. So it's more so just the most likely outcome is we actually continue going past and we sweep this high as well and then go down. But anything will happen at the end of the day. So we'll leave that there and we'll see what happens. Okay, GBP and Z. Let me quickly check something. No, we're good. We're good. Yeah, my optimal scenario with this is just running through this. Like we could accumulate in here, but I think for me, ideally in Euro USD, I'd like to just see a clean sweep of this tap as well, and we just create a model 1 accumulation. That would be ideal for me. We'll wait and see. And Z as well. Same thing, I would just like to see price confidence sweep this before anything else. That's all I've got for this pair. Now, this was the fun one, guys. I missed this entry. And I had set my alerts, maybe we'll get a pullback on this very, very shitty looking supply. And we front ran it. We were close to pulling back into this very shitty supply. Here it is. 10-minute structured supply. Yeah, this was a 5-minute break of structure, which I wasn't paying attention on at the time, and I noticed it around here. Yeah, and I said I'll stick to my strategy. I'll only wait and enter if we pull back and we need to get this, which never happened. Yeah, and so far price is looking good. Yeah, no supply there. No supply there. No supply there. That's shit. No supply there. Yeah, so there's really no reason for price to come back up. So if you're in this, well done. Well done, and I'll stick it out till about here. Till the range low. Yeah, other than that, like, price can come up. I don't think it will though. Oh yeah, it can always come up. There's no. That's the game you play at the end of the day. But this just looks too clean and too smooth of a drop to not go, to not just flush down. Even the liquidity curve, I believe, looks clean. I can draw it from there. Some of the cleanest from, like, this is just way too forced, but from here it looks nice. Very nice. Yeah, this is beautiful. Could be, you know, it could be a little bit cleaner, but it's still good. But yeah, if you're in this, fair play. The only thing it didn't take out Asia highs, which was interesting. The Asia highs was taking out the third tap, which doesn't really happen. Normally it takes out Asia highs, and that creates the third tap, which on this instance did happen. Yeah. Well, moving on. Man, this is messy. Yeah, I haven't had, as you can see, I haven't had the most success trading this pair. We can sack all this off. This was a nice accumulation though. This was actually a decent accumulation, which had I have entered and just stuck it out, would have hit TP. Very prolonged TP, but it hit TP. Because it had a, yeah, like, beautiful looking return to zone here. I can't remember if I did end up taking that or not. You know what? There would have been a we took the Asia lows in London, which is good. It's what you want. You want Asia highs or lows taken in London. What I want to see is, where could I have entered here? You know what? But I have a feeling up here would have been the most, yeah. Is this anything more than 5 minutes? No, 5 minute, 15 minute maybe? No, okay. So yeah, 5 minute entry and the 5 minute break of structure would have been the best one to take. After SFPing, you would have waited, and then you would have technically had to enter somewhere here. Therefore, you would enter about here. Lows, stop loss just below that low. Maybe you get a 3R here, maybe. Close. Valid. Still decent. You could have always entered on the pullback, as we saw earlier. Plenty of opportunity to enter on a pullback, but it's one of those things where if you don't enter in the moment, it's the more time that passes, the less likely you are to enter, because the more skeptical you become about was this actually a valid entry. Whereas if you enter, stick to your plan, and just let it be, set and forget, then that's when you get the results. Yeah. So yeah, you would have been in this for. So if you enter there, you would have been in this for about. Yeah, for about almost 6 days. So that would have really tested your willpower there for a 282 RR, 2.82 RR. Fair play to anyone that did enter this. This would have been liquidity, you can tell. To validate it, because it's not a bad thing to validate. Yeah. Yeah, man. Just an FYI, it's also laggy on my screen, not just yours, if anyone is asking. Valid liquidity. Very valid liquidity. Yeah, that's fine. So we did sweep all of this extreme liquidity. And now we can wait. And then it's simply just waiting to see if we can, whichever demand or supply zone we get a reaction from. Nothing more, nothing less. Come on. If I was to draw a range from now, it would just be this. That's it. That's the range. Maybe we can distribute, given that we've sort of set up for it. Yes, not really, but we kind of have local flow here, range starting point here, and we can sweep in here, mitigate this supply and then drop, mitigate this demand and then go higher. Something like that. No, I'll draw this maybe. Here, bang, bang. It's terrible. Something like this. Mitigate, sweep, down, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, screenshot this. This is my analysis on Euro NZ. You got your return to zone there. Look at this, return to zone straight in the break of structure. Bang. Break of structure because the market makeup manipulation playbook. And I'll hide this for next time. Hide, bang, save. Alright, next. Yes, this was my failed trade on US dollar against the Swiss franc, which wasn't the best. A lot of, yeah, well, like, theoretically speaking, this is no longer valid, so I can suck all this off. And we ran through this supply. Yeah, with this I'm not really liking the price movements anymore. Yeah, like once I've been stopped out. Like this is just way too forced of a range. And you can see how much price is hanging around in and out of our deviation limit, so I'm not really interested anymore here. I will let that gather a bit more data for the time being. USD JPY. This is nice. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, return to zone, sweep. Like textbook as you can get realistically. Yeah, that is beautiful. If anyone took that, well played. Even that, you can already see it from here. Range high, maybe on a different market structure. Yeah, that's valid. Range high, range low, sweep. Nice. USD/JPY, not much here. Same thing, we've just completed our distribution model, so we would like to wait for more data to form. What's the macro context of this thing here like? Fair enough. mega demand, mega supply zone here. That's for sure. Ooh. This has just been downhill since 74. Crazy. Okay, so we'll hit this 6-month supply zone, but there it is. Crazy how successful I am from trading one side. Once we hit this, seriously, it'll be a good test. 23rd of Feb 2026. We'll see where we are when the USD JPY has hit this supply zone. Remember this moment. Point to the camera. Remember this moment. Funny, funny, funny. This is my extreme liquidity point. Right, almost done with Forex, and then we can quickly have a look at crypto. I'm just going to look through probably Bitcoin, ETH, maybe a few other pairs. This has been mitigated. This one. It's a daily supply zone. It's pretty big now. There you go. Daily supply. Boom. Boom. Wait and see what happens. Next. A lot of drawings here. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah. We have entered this you can hear like a few attempted trades from what I'm seeing. What in concoction was this? This is my AUD CAD where I got stopped out and then my technical target got hit. So it's just one of those instances where you get the correct expectational order flow, but the incorrect entry. That's part of it. Realistically, all this can go. Is that even something? No. This could be something. The return to zone isn't the cleanest, and there's a lot of Like, I'm not seeing much of a range in efficiency here. Come on, man. However, like, demand is being mitigated, which is a good sign, because that just means less things are holding price from less things are preventing price from going and flushing downwards. Is there an OBIF here? It doesn't look like it. But this is that is sneaky and that is valid. This is in our favor for now. Well, I'd like to see a mitigation of this before we move our way down. It's a very cheeky structured demand chain there. And that candle is also not nice. I'd like to see that get taken. Is there anything else above us? Always double check above. Yeah, probably not. Like, it's just way too far to even. Like, you have this, but it's not the cleanest, but there would be some structure involved there. And it has taken some highs around here, so that's somewhat of a valid supply block, which price can or cannot go to. Anything on 47 minutes. We've almost got longer than yesterday's, which was supposed to be the big one. We haven't even gone into crypto yet. Bam. Yeah, like, we could. It'd be nice. I would like to see price come into here for an optimal higher confluence entry. I would like this supply zone mitigated before we move our way down. So thus far, we wait and see. Was there any extreme liquidity? There has to be something in there, but it doesn't look like it for the time being. Not really. Look at this, man. It's formed a nice little and there it is. Extreme liquidity untouched. And for some extra confluence, it is below our first tap, which isn't, it's not ideal, but if you get a reaction off that, you get a reaction off that. So we don't trade expectations, we trade confirmations. Traded wire. Yeah. Sure looks pretty good. Yeah, that's my AUD CAD analysis. Hopefully we come into here. That would be nice. And drop. Do we mitigate this first? Even better. Even better. NZ CAD last Forex for the day. Oh, this is a beautiful trade. Don't have my journal up at the moment, but this was a nice trade. When did I take this? 18th of Feb. Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to open my trade journal. I just want to look back at this. This might get a little bit laggy. See what GBP USD is doing in the meantime. Excuse the lagginess. Okay, we've tapped there, so we'll see what happens. Back to NZ CAD. Where were we? This 8-hour trade, pretty decent. I have a feeling I didn't take this. Did I take this? I must have taken this. Oh, I know what's happening. Yeah, I remember this one. I took it, but then I got taken out of my lesson learned. I got taken out of the trade due to spreads. What I did was I had a stop loss set here, exactly where this is at 0.82536. What I should have done is not had my yeah, I can close this because it's too laggy. My apologies. Alright, still a little laggy, but what I should have done was not had my stop loss set and just have a manual alert here. Should price reach here, then I would just manually exit the position. But what I did was have my stop loss set, and therefore, because of spreads, even though price got, like, visually and literally speaking, price got nowhere near my actual stop loss, but spreads kicked me out of the trade. So lesson learned there: don't set stop loss, set very strict alerts and manually exit positions. Euro USD, what's happening there? Entering rectangle. And there's another one. But yeah, so that was a very lovely idea, which worked out well, but spreads. So remember that one, folks. Spreads. Beautiful trade. Beautiful. And we front ran that supply. Yeah, that, like, if anyone watch this textbook, we will write that down. That is as good of a setup as you'll ever get. In the meantime, from a more local standpoint, not really. There's obviously demand here, which we've mitigated. Maybe something refined over here, or not. You know what? If price bounces from this region, then obviously, or front runs this, then there's a reason why it would have. So I better map out and see what could possibly front run, make price front run this mega demand zone below. I haven't tended to notice. Normally on the 5 minute, you get some very nice refined demand zones or supply zones, depending on which way you look at it. That's gone there. This could just be a little too refined. Yeah. It's just a little bit too refined. But we'll still map it out. Very curious if price actually reacts off this. Very curious. Not yet. If we do get a reaction from this would be pretty cool. Come to our winners. Witness. Am I still gonna make some bar replay? Nah. Just went way too far ahead. That's all it was. Yeah. That's it for NZCAD. Nothing worth mentioning. We'll quickly brush through. A lot of this TA I've already done, so I'm just going to quickly talk over it. Potential accumulation model forming here. Decent looking return to zone. Started with a distribution up top. A lot of mitigated supply in here. It's fine, I can stay there. Perfect. Right. And this is, you've got that. That's extreme liquidity, but that's a bit too far away. That's valid. The liquidity POIs aren't the nicest. I would like to see this one first get swept. Which it probably will, to be fair. There's not a chance the Bitcoin is just going to start pumping up in there. Yeah, maybe to just mitigate the supply and then come back down. But and I'm picking a safe liquidity target. I'll chart both just because. In good practice to do. Bro, next time you guys see me on camera, I'll have a clean as cut. Even that, like, that's not liquidity, man. That's liquidity. Relax, I'm gonna straighten it up. Alright, where the fuck is excuse the language. This demand zone has clearly been mitigated. Color. That can mitigate as well. Why am I drawing? Why was it so? Did I just not pull it? Or has it been mitigated? I think I just didn't pull it out. I don't think this would have been mitigated. But you can always have a look. Yeah, 45-minute BIF, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Okay, and that is the coin for now. Just wait. Yeah, before anything happens, I would really like this, ideally, this supply to get taken out and mitigated, essentially. All right, that's it for Bitcoin. ETH. Nice return to zone. Very similar to the BTC chart. Very similar. And I reckon that PO3 schematic may be a go. I missed the entry for that, but we'll see what happens. It's like realistically, it's still well within our deviation range. I'm not even going to put the deal, get the deal tool up. You can just tell it's well within, and then price even reacted beautifully, coming straight back into the range. So yeah, that's what you want to see from a accumulation standpoint, or any sort of distributional accumulation standpoint. If price comes out, you want to see it come straight back into the range. Didn't leave much of a candle though, worth noting. Meaning that there's a chance that it might soon exceed this and leave a bit more of a, sorry, didn't leave much of a candle, didn't leave much of a wick. So there's a good chance that we might see price sweep this and potentially mitigate this demand, which is possible. Then we have some supply here. 3 hour. That is 3 hour, yeah. That's Bitcoin. Asta, I will not be going through all these crypto pairs, just an FYI. Just a select few. Asta, beautiful looking return to zone. Would like price to sweep this first before any movements happen. Not much of not really a OBIF worth. Not at all. Just liquidity, and that's fine. Yeah, with Asta, just waiting. You know what? We might get a cheeky little distribution scalp into our demand zone. I'll remove the EQ so it's easier to see. We have been ranging for 5 out of 10 minutes. Could be better, could be worse. Ideally, anything with scalps, ideally anything after 8 hours would be good, but triple lows potentially. I'll have a better look at this in a minute. Double lows, equal lows. I'm gonna call it that, not triple lows. Equal lows. What are we seeing from here? We need, for this to be any sort of decent scalp, you need a very slow grind up into this third tap POI area. In terms of what POIs we're going to choose, there's nothing outside of this terrible structure supply area. No real POI I'm interested in. Like there's no, you can call that extreme liquidity, you can. But it's just so close to the EQ, which is right here. But if that was to happen with Aston, we get a nice little distribution to go all the way down into our demand area, then price would have to slowly start making its way back up pretty quick, pretty soon. Otherwise, this pretty quickly becomes invalidated. And it is a low time frame scale regardless, so probabilities are always going to be low. That's why you need a lot of confluences in right now. I'm not really seeing any, just the way this is shaping up. Yeah, that's Asta, but yeah, our high time frame picture, we want price to sweep this so then we can run it back up. Cake, I'm just going to scan these. All these charts will be fairly similar. Just keep that in mind. Like a good amount of them will be fairly similar. But I'm going to try and look for one which has a really, really nice, like this, like a really, really nice return to zone. This looks beautiful. Look at all these. That could have been our third tap. That could have been our Is there anything here we can grab? I missed my entry. Come back. I missed my entry. Come back. Yeah, I feel like if you took an entry here, you might have done the correct thing. Otherwise, I will not be interested unless price comes all the way back into here. And it has to come into here quick to form an extended model. Like there's a nice liquidity trail forming, so price has all the likelihood to come back into here, but we just don't know for sure. But if it does, we're prepared. That's nice. We mitigated demand. There's probably some extreme liquidity in there which we've swept. Or we haven't swept. You wouldn't have entered here probably regardless because it's just way too close to that second tap. Was that liquidity? Did I seriously draw liquidity there? In comes the scissors. That is valid liquidity, which I'm feeling got taken. That could have gotten taken to a T. And if it did, man, where were my alerts, bro? Is that it? That's it. And I think so did the other one. Yeah, so that's obviously been taken. Yeah. That is extreme liquidity. That is the extreme liquidity point, which I believe got taken as well. Like, that's extreme. So if price sweeps that extreme point and break structure, man, let's see if it did. Hasn't. Interesting. Well, it's still there. But that tap is nice because it's also a deviation below our tap one, which is here. So, like, I would not be surprised if price never comes back below this third tap and the accumulation model completes itself. Yeah, this was nice. Very nice. Everything is going. See you later. Bang. I think this was some sort of larger time frame model. Yeah. Just a range, really. A range with a bunch of liquidity sweeps. Pump on everyone's favorite XRP. Making a little move up there. Sui. It's nice. Not the cleanest model, but you can see it completed itself. And was this another one that I took? Or it wasn't. I think I took this one. But it's nice. It completed itself. Valid. So it could accumulate here. This has already been completed, so we can get rid of that. Same thing, I missed entry on this one. For a potential low. However, if price ends up mitigating this supply, there could be an entry, but other than that, not interested. It might not even enter. This is clean, very clean. Very clean. That is no longer needed. I'd like to see price like just slowly climb back into this POI. That would be ideal. But so far, that's a decent looking setup. To anyone interested. Yeah, these are pretty ass looking. Oh, actually. This one's nice, but we need a reason to enter, and there's no reason to enter because we have not had a sweep of extreme liquidity or mitigation of extreme supply. So as of now, we just wait. All right, that's it for today. Until the next one. Next time, fresh trim. Peace. We're off.